Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. I wanted to give a tribute to my cousin. This is a kind of a different video. I've never done one like this, but I just felt the need that I wanted to pay tribute to my cousin. He was killed in Vietnam, and he was the oldest of my dad's brother. Dad's brother had like 10, 11 kids. He was the oldest, and his name was David Lynn Judy. And I remember he joined the Marines, and just a big, raw-boned, tall, lanky farm kid from Illinois, Potomac. And him and his brother came up here. He was on leave, and he came in, and it just happened to be, I don't know if it was had to be coincidence, but he came. It was my birthday, June 14th, Flag Day. And I remember them going in and buying a bunch of fishing equipment, and we all went fishing. And my older brother and him, and he had another brother with him, they were all a lot older than I was, like 10, 12 years older. And so I was kind of pushed to the side because I was a little squirt. At that time I was probably 8. Yeah, probably 8, 9 years old. And so I had a little cane pole, and they had these fancy reels, fishing poles and lures, and they bought up a bunch of lures. And we were fishing, and they were casting on one end of the pond, and they'd kind of told me to stay over here. You know, you got a cane pole, you just stay over here. So there I was, setting my cane pole, kind of sulking, sitting on the ground. I had my pole laying on a concrete block, and a little old hook on it, and maybe half of an earthworm on there. And I was watching them, and I looked down and I saw my pole take off, and I grabbed it, and I pulled back with everything I had over my head, and this 8-pound bass come flying through the air over my head and was bouncing, flopping on the ground. And David Lynn saw that, and he took off running toward me. He said, "Look what this kid caught," and he ran up and he grabbed me. And it was muddy out there. We had to go to the barn lot to get back to the house. And David Lynn, the Marine, grabbed me and set me up on his shoulders, grabbed my fish, and carried me through that mud. He was going to his knees in the mud. And I tell you what, you don't forget something like that. Walked me to the house, and you know, he's bragging, "Look what this little kid caught with this cane pole." You know, this big old bass. And so we had my birthday, and David Lynn brought out a gift, and he gave me his harmonica. You know, I'll never forget it. It was a beautiful, beautiful harmonica. I think the brand was like a Philharmonic, and it was in a leather case. And he gave me his childhood harmonica, and I was just like, oh my gosh. You know, David Lynn Judy was my hero. I mean, my gosh. For him to give me a harmonica, and it was something that he had gotten as a kid. And so they stayed another 2 or 3 days. I think we had a fish fry and did a lot more fishing, and
Probably had some watermelon.
Yeah, because that's my tradition. As a birthday cake, I don't take a cake. We take a watermelon, we cut it in two, we put candles in it. That's what we do. I love watermelon. And so that's what we've always done for Greg on his birthday, is a watermelon and not a cake. But anyway, so that was June 14th. And I was so little, I don't remember the time span, but I think it was like a month later, 2 months later, we got a phone call from Uncle David, and David Lynn was killed in a skirmish over in Vietnam. And you know, I was old enough I knew about death and stuff like that, but I just couldn't believe it. I just didn't want to accept that David Lynn had been killed, and he was. And anyway, he was just a heck of a guy, and I think he was even engaged. He had a fiance, and they named the park in Potomac the David Lynn Judy Park, and yeah. So, you know, I never had any kids. It wasn't because I didn't want them, I did. We just never could have any. And if I had a son, I'd want him to be just like David Lynn. So, yeah, he was a first-rate American, you know. And as a little kid to lose somebody like that, it was tough. But you know, I told earlier I worked with a guy in Vietnam, and he was a warrior too. And you know, Ron Asdale, and I got a lot of stories from him, and I just can't imagine, you know. And so my heart goes out to all of you veterans out there that have served overseas and risked your life and your families. Another one, Drew.
Yeah.
Drew Imsat. He, Drew, I know you're a local YouTuber too, and my gosh, when I met Drew, he was at a conference in North Carolina, and I could tell he was in the service. He looked like a serviceman, and I went up and introduced myself, or he did after my talk, and it was a 2-day school, and he was a Marine, flying. You know, probably won't forgive me. I think they're Cobras. Is what I'm not sure, but anyway, we gave him a free school, maybe 2. I'm not sure. He came to 2 of our grading schools. And Drew found him some cows, some South Pole cows, and Drew's got a wonderful family, wife, and a bunch of some beautiful kids. And this is what he wants to do, and so he's doing it in North Carolina. And Drew risked his life. I mean, he was over there in Fallujah and all that stuff. It's like, my gosh! But he gave me a painting of his commanding officer over the Euphrates River.
A print.
Huh? A print. Yeah, print. There was only like 600 made. We've got it framed. I have to show you all that one. It's a beautiful rendition of what Drew went through over there. So yeah, I mean, my hats are off to you all that have served our country.
Gypsy.
Yeah, there's another fellow out there, Gypsy. He was over there, and he went back as a private contractor. And Drew's done some of that too. He was flying missions back to Afghanistan up until like a month ago. So, yeah, you know, it's just hard for me to imagine what you all went through over there, especially those of you who have been injured. And so I get a lot of emails from you guys, and I try and answer them all.
And ladies.
And ladies. I try to answer all that I can from you all, but my heart goes out to you all.
And the families.
And the families, the suffering and the sacrifice that you all have done for your country. And yeah, thank you. So I think I'm gonna wind it up with that. That's what Memorial Day is about: is recognizing the people that they gave the ultimate sacrifice. And yeah, Uncle Scott, the one that owned these farms, he was in the Navy.
Uncle Dan.
Uncle Dan, he was in the Army. Yeah. So.
Which wars were they in?
World War II. Yep. Our old friend Marshall.
Yep.
Marshall was in World War II, and
my old neighbor Leonard
Husky. He was in there.
D-Day, or no, he was on Normandy.
He was in Normandy. Yes, absolutely. Steve McCauley's dad.
Yeah.
He was in the Iwo Jima. Yeah. He was on that deal. I mean, my gosh. Gordon Hazard, a good grazing friend of mine from Mississippi, he was in the Black Forest in Germany in World War II. He was lucky to make it out of it.
Yeah. I mean, we've lost thousands of.
Yeah. So, folks, you know, we have a wonderful country, but it took a lot of sacrifice for what we have today, and I don't think we should lose sight of that as a country. You know, we need to respect these people, and I heard a bunch of just ill-informed, I don't know what they are. I don't know.
That's just.
Yeah, they were wanting to do away with Memorial Day, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, you can't do that. That's part of what America's about, is celebrating, you know, the sacrifices and it just, making sure people are aware of what people went through, Maybe we don't have to repeat it again. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you all. Thanks all you veterans. I really appreciate all of you. And we'll have a great Memorial Day, and we'll see you down the road. Thank you.